Hello. Welcome to my castle. This is my son, George Catstanza. Let us go to my office. It's just 2 steps that way. I think a lot of different ways to define what a drag king is, but how I like to think of it is it's anything that you want it to be. Anyone who identifies as a drag king is a drag king. But for me, being a drag king involves a kind of physical metamorphosis through the art of makeup and hair and costume and then character on stage. I started playing with drag since I was a child, dressing up and being all different kinds of characters. Drag is a way to start living your truth. Being trans meant like the people on Sally Jessy Raphael or Ricky Lake, and they seemed to be people that were not very happy generally. And I was like, well, that's not me. Oh my God, I'm already bullied so much. And I like being trans is definitely not what I want to be. But then it was, but I knew that I was not a little girl. And I wanted to dress like what was considered to be dressing like a boy. And I also wanted to dress like, you know, a fairy and a Spice Girl and Luke Skywalker. And, I was professionally in a drag situation when I was in a band, and I was, the singer of the band asked me to dress up like a guy and have everyone think that I'm like a guy in the band. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever. And then like I reveal at the end that I'm this beautiful blonde lady. And it was really fun. And I dressed up to look kind of like almost like Paul McCartney or something. Like that's what I was like. That's the kind of guy I want to be, like a young Paul McCartney. I don't know. And I played that show, and it was just like the best show I'd ever played. I had so much energy. I felt so strong and confident, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing that that's who I am. And then I think when I actually like officially started my drag career was it was in Sydney. Somebody asked me to portray David Bowie in their Labyrinth show. And I was like, wow, this is a dream come true. David Bowie's my idol. I know all of his mannerisms. I know everything I can about how he performs. And so then I got to do that. And that was when it all changed. I was in like, I think 2016. And I've been doing drag much more seriously and confidently since then. I moved to Australia from Los Angeles in 2010. I met some people, so I was in this band. Through that, the producer of the band, his kids were raised in Sydney. And I met them, they came to one of our shows, and I just thought they were like the most incredible people I'd ever met in my life. I thought they were so intelligent and queer, and in a way that I'd never seen before, you know, just so open with being who they were. And I was just like, I want to go to wherever made these people. And eventually I was just like, all right, well, I'm just going to go live in Australia for a year, and I want to like make an artist community and put on shows and do all that stuff. And it happened. Well, many visas later, here I am. The drag king scene changed here in Sydney in the past 10 years. So I haven't witnessed the whole spectrum of change that's happened within the past 10 years here, because I haven't really been participating in the drag scene in Sydney until like about, you know, what would that be, 4 years ago. But like working in gay bars since like 2012, is that like lesbian-focused nights never had drag kings performing by that time in 2012. I never ever saw any kings. I saw burlesque dancers, and burlesque is great. I think it's amazing. I love burlesque so much. But like specifically like the kind of burlesque that they would have would be like, ooh, naughty schoolgirl, and it's just like that's not my cup of tea. Yeah, in 2016, it was a big year. A lot of stuff happened. I started to feel much more attached to the queer community, and I started an event called the Oyster Club. And with that, I wanted to showcase all the different aspects of the community that I was a part of on a stage and provide like all these different people with a megaphone. And a big part of that was to give a platform for drag kings. And as well, like Heapskay started having a drag king night with like the first Sydney Kings, I think. I'm not sure if it was in 2016 or 17, but it was like all of a sudden there was a night dedicated to kings. And that happened like, maybe twice a year. And now there's Sydney Kings happens once a month. The amazing thing is that now I'm also starting to see a lot more new drag kings. Because even like the first drag king night that I performed at, it was like people have been doing this for so long. And then me. So it was really wonderful. It's really wonderful to see that there's all these new people that are, finding this art form to express themselves. I think my performance style is very highly influenced from clowning. But not even like a traditional school of clown, because I have only very lightly been trained in clowning, but I'm just a life clown is what I like to call it. I'm naturally just very, I guess a bit offbeat and a bit silly. And I think part of that is because I'm on the spectrum, and so I see the world a bit differently than other people, and sometimes I just say things that are a bit out of place, and it becomes funny. And I then milk it. My work, my performance style is also very much based on like fantasy elements of kind of like being otherworldly creatures, or always taking down the patriarchy. That's my favorite. I love doing that. I love any way I can make fun of toxic masculinity. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. I love that. And I like meme culture as well. And sometimes I'll bring in like some meme references. And I like video game culture as well. And I'm really fascinated by like exploring like gamer culture and how that affects masculinity a lot. And yeah, and I love animals very much. But for me, the best part of performance is the love that's shared. And that's why I really like performing for queer audiences. And being a drag king, you very rarely perform for non-queer audiences. Like that's kind of it. That's who you're performing for. And I love that. I don't know if I ever want to be like mainstream, because I don't want to I'm not here to convert people. I'm here to cheer up my own community, and to share that love around. And when I'm on stage, I feel their love. There's certain things where I feel like I know how they're going to respond, because I've been doing it for like sideshow stuff I've been doing for over 10 years. I've been doing the same routine of hammering a nail into my face for over 10 years. And so I know there's certain ways how people are going to respond, but there's always that chance that things will go different when it's live. And that is very exciting, because if there's anything I love it more than anything else, is spontaneity and unpredictability. Like that chance that something's not going to fall into a predictable pattern. Chaos. Oh, chaos is absolutely the best. Oh, it makes me live.
So how does...
Hold on a second. I have to burp. Excuse me. I've learned for so much of my life to like try and suppress anything masculine in myself. And for lack of a better term, because I do firmly believe that the ideas of masculinity and femininity are totally, constructs, and they're not real. But for the sake of, easy semantics, shall we? I'm antisemantic, just so you know. It's okay, I'm Jewish, I can make that joke, so it's okay. Oh yeah, you can't respond to me, sorry. I was like, why are you laughing at my joke? It's a good one. I know. I'm sorry. I've really learned to embrace the masculinity within myself. I've also learned that I don't want to neglect any femininity from myself, that's not me either, that it's always something that's in flux, and that's wonderful, and that through stage performance, if I'm ever feeling in my regular life that I'm not expressing some aspect of that fully, I can, act that out on stage and get it out of my system or embrace it or feel it. And it's just, I guess it's always a bit of therapy on stage, and kind of, dealing with, and really cleansing myself of shame. I feel like, drag has been the greatest help for me to shed that shame. That's been the most helpful thing, and especially like being on stage, and it's that communication with the audience, that I'm sharing this experience with people, and I'm sharing my body with people in a way. There's elements of it that are also hard, and where you learn that maybe the world hasn't changed as much as you want it to. I feel like in the scene, there's still a lot of people who are not very accepting of transness within drag. I mean, it makes it hard to kind of break into it or feel like it's a safe space for you. And so I've had to, it's a very weird thing of feeling like, oh, I found my place, and then being like, oh, no, not quite, So, yeah. But ultimately, I've really enjoyed the journey, and I love it. I'm still doing it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it. The future of the drag community in so-called Sydney needs to look a lot more diverse than it is at the moment. I think it's getting there. I think that it helps to have, more people producing shows with drag kings in them, but I think it's really important for there to be more producers of different cultural backgrounds, of different histories, because they'll be able to highlight the artists in a different way and bring in that community, bring in the different audiences. Like even for myself, I hope that we, are empowered and educated enough to be able to start making more accessible spaces for people with disabilities and people with facial difference and body difference. I think that that's something that is especially lacking in drag, and I would really like to witness more of that on drag stages, and I think we're getting there. It sounds so cliche, but really to be yourself is so important. It's so important. You think that with all the access that we have with, social media to all different other kinds of queer people, that it would be easier for us to, I guess, find ourselves, and in some ways that's true, but I think that it also means that people really look directly towards other drag artists to influence who they are as a drag artist, and that can be very good. But at the same time, I feel like it adds like a kind of a layer of separation from yourself and like a direct influence. And I feel like there's a lot of problems in drag where people are feeling like instead of drag being something that used to be just absolutely, absolutely outsider, absolutely not acceptable in mainstream society, drag has become a household word because of like RuPaul's Drag Race, which has had many benefits to help people come out, to their, conservative families, but there's aspects of that which have made it so that there is a type of drag. This is how drag is supposed to be, and I feel like that is a problem, and that I think it's important for people to remember that drag is revolutionary. It's because it's you getting to be yourself, and you're expressing an aspect of yourself, or or maybe that aspect of yourself is you being not yourself at all, like not who it's I feel like it's always an aspect of yourself, but it's not who you're ever presenting as, ever. So I think that it's just like really important to remember that like your ideas, even if they're like very different and they don't seem to fit into the mold of what you think drag is, just go for it, go fully into it, invest yourself completely into it. Don't settle. Just be whatever that weird thing is, and be it as much as you can. Just go into it. So tonight I'm performing in something that might first appear to be, very conventional, very easily accessible to the masses, but actually I'm sneaking in a little bit of deviance. It's Sound and Vision, a David Bowie cabaret, brought to you by my company, my production company, I don't know, me and my friends, Cabaret Sasquatch. We have a live band, and we're performing, the band will be playing all David Bowie songs, and the artists will be presenting their artwork kind of filtered through their interpretation of Bowie, how Bowie has influenced them, but it's all going to be completely them and their work. So I have some absolutely incredible artists. Like the thing is that you wouldn't think of them as doing David Bowie impersonations. I do David Bowie impersonations, but like the thing is that you don't come to this show to see a bunch of people acting like David Bowie. You come to this show to see the cultural zeitgeist of Bowie's work filtered through, all these different artists. Like we have the singer Dian Tai, who's going to be performing. We have the dancer Ceremony, who was in Bangara, and Demon Derriere is going to be doing, something completely like not Bowie, but at the same time, still like living through that music. And she does a lot of like kind of booty dance work, and it's just like, but you'll see it, it'll connect. And we have Gabriel Angel, who is another trans non-binary person, doing a performance about modern queerness and contemporary queerness. And sorry, I'm like feeling bad if I'm forgetting anyone. My friend Tamara Hall, who is a sculptor, is going to be performing as well. So it's just like we have, all these different people with very different backgrounds. Even though they're linked with the music of Bowie, their performances will be completely different. Oh, we have an amazing hula hoop artist, Blake Wilson, who is going to be, usually I think hula hooping is done to like very peppy, upbeat stuff, and it'll be a little bit of a surprise what he'll be doing. So it's just like, I just, even if it's something that's so relatable to people, like Bowie, everyone, like almost everyone knows Bowie, and he's a very famous musician, but maybe they haven't been exposed to these kinds of artists using his music to express their stories and their relationship to queerness. All right, I got a band waiting for me. I gotta go. Thank you so much. See you folks later.